going to take you step by step through the flags tutorial material. So this tutorial is using jQuery, and we're going to build a little application that will end up with a quiz, so you can test yourself on how we know flags of the world. All right, so it's a Word document, and if we open it up, the first thing it tells us is to get hold of some files. They're in a zip. So if I go to a web browser and paste that in, then it should download the zip. And we're going to take that. Now, it starts out, we've got a folder called flags, and you can't edit, while it's zipped up like that, you can't edit these files and you can't really load them into a web page. What we want to do is to put these onto, you can actually work on your own drive, so we can work on the D drive if we like. So the D drive is where I keep temporary space, temporary stuff. But it's about web technology. Let's put it on our server. So I'm going to load WinZip, and I'm going. That's not WinZip. I'm going to load WinSCP, get WinSCP going, and I've got a link to the server we're using for this module. That's that one there. So I can type in new and enter the details, but I've got them saved here. So I'm going to open that one. And for web work, we put everything in public HTML. So I open public HTML and check that I don't already have a folder called flags, and I don't. So what I want to do is to drag that from here to here. I don't think it'll let me. It won't let me drag directly from a zip. So I actually have to explicitly unzip this. I'm going to do it in downloads. So I right click and extract all. Come on, come on. Extract all. Yeah, get on with it. It's making a big deal. Right, so that's the folder flags that I want, and I'm going to drag that into public HTML, and I'm going to edit it directly from there. I could also use Putty to edit it, or I can just use the built-in editor here. So I'm in public HTML, I'm in flags, and I can see I've got flags.html and these JavaScript files as well. So the files I've got, these ones are flags, these are images, these GIFs are images. That's the jQuery library. Flags.html is a file. I'm not sure what these two are, not interested in them just yet. Because I put this in public HTML on the set08101 server, I should be able to visit that page. So it will be flags and then flags.html. So my account number is 4000036, and yours will be your metric number, and it's set08101.napier.ac.uk, napier.ac.uk/ and it's flags. So if I just do flags on its own, I should get a permission denied. Yep. But if I do flags.html, okay, I'm opening that page. It doesn't seem to be doing anything much. So we'll start the instructions and see what it is we've got to do. So I've downloaded that, and I can view the page, and I'm looking for my first set of instructions. Okay. We need two files, flags and flags.js. I've noticed I've already got those two. I've already got two files like that. Let's see what's in them. So here's flags.html. I double click on this and it'll open the editor. And that looks pretty similar to this. Yeah, I think they're pretty much the same thing. Doc type, and we've got this two script nodes. We've got no CSS attached. We've got a head, we've got a body. Okay, what does flags.js look like? That looks pretty much like, so that's flags.js, and this is the line that's missing. Let's take that, copy that, and put that into the editor. Save that, so I do Control S to save, and now I'm looking for my Chrome window. Here it is. When I reload, I should get an alert. Okay, so what happened was, this is the ready function. The ready function ran. This is jQuery finding the body tag. So there's always a body tag in a web page, and it appends the text string hello world. That's done. I don't think we want to see that anymore. Okay, yep, it did that. So what we want to do is to add something more complicated. We started off by adding a simple text string, but here we're adding something more complicated. We're going to create a node, a div node called France, and inside that, called fr, and inside that fr we're going to append a div with the word France and an image node, that's src, with a given src source. And then having created that node, we're going to put that node into the document. The three things you do to a node typically in jQuery is you create the node, you change it in some way, and then you add it to the document. If you forget one of those steps, you're not going to see what you expect. So let's go to the JS file, get rid of that easy line. I'm going to make this text a little bit bigger because my eyes aren't what they were. Okay, select font. Let's go up a little bit. Okay, so my favorite font is Lucida Console. Do we have that? No, I'm just being fussy now. Goodness me, Alpha Lucida. Lucida Console, there it is there. Fixed width font, and let's go all the way up to 16 for my poor tired eyes. Okay, all right, so what I want to do is create a node, and I'm going to call that node France. So that's $. So this pattern, we do it a lot. What's happening here is that $$ is the heavily overloaded JavaScript function, and we use it in several ways. In this case, I'm using it to create HTML. So I put in a bit of HTML there, and that's created a node, and I can do stuff to that node. So I can say .append, and I can put in another node. So I can create another node. So I create another node, and I put that inside the fr node I just created. And this node here is going to have a bit of text in it. It's going to have, well, I could do this. I could say France and then close the div like that. So that's created a div node with the word France in it, and it puts it inside the fr node. And then I can put that fr node inside the body of the HTML document so that we can see it. Append fr. So I create a node called fr. I put something in that node. I put that node into the document. Bob's your uncle. Save that, and let's go back to here, reload that, and it says France. Fantastic. That's not what it said in the specification. It says something slightly different. Can you see this div and then the curly brackets? And I'm going to try that style. So what happens is my habit is to create an empty node. So that's a node with nothing in it. And this is the $$ function taking one parameter. That one parameter is a string. If I give it two parameters, the second parameter can be this key value pair list. So these curly brackets here, this is introducing a list of keys and values. And one of the keys we can use, for example, is text. And text will take a value. So this says create a div node and set its text property to France. So if I save that, it should do exactly the same thing, so let's not bother. Let's try adding another node, so I'm going to copy that and paste it. This time I don't want to create a div node, I want to create an img node. Now an img node is how we put images in HTML, and an img node doesn't have text, it's an empty element. What it does have is a source which tells us what the URL is for the image we're going to show. And I'm pretty confident we've got an image called fr.gif. There it is there, you see fr.gif, so that is going to be the image we're going to put in, fr.gif. If we wanted to mess with the French, we could give the French, of course, the Brazilian flag. Let's do that. Okay, so we reload, and there we go. We've changed the flag of France to the flag of Brazil. Okay, that's enough messing with the French. Save that before they notice. Phew. Okay, crisis averted. So what's happened is we've created a node called fr. That was a simple div. We put a div in it, we put an image in it, and that thing then gets added to the body of the document. So let's move on to the next task. Okay, so implementing CSS. We don't like the way that looks. We need to have a border, and we can do that using CSS. We can do CSS in a number of different ways. This stuff here looks pretty straightforward. First off, we're going to put a border around the IMG, and let's see why that's a good idea. If we look at this image here, can you see the white in the flag of France bleeds through to the background, so you can't easily see where that flag begins and ends. So if we put a border around this image, that would be a good thing to do. Number of ways we can do that, and we're going to put in this rule here. So what I'll say is $img, that says find all the images, not OMG. Okay, and that says find all the image nodes and apply this CSS rule. The CSS rule we're going to apply. Well, CSS rule, if I'm using the CSS function like this, so it says apply CSS function, you give it two values, you give it the property and the value. So the property I want is border, and the value I want is solid and grey and thin. Okay, that's dull. So what's happening here? This says find all the images that are in your document, and it'll find exactly one of them, and apply this CSS rule to it. Save that, reload, and can you see that thin border around there? Okay, I was told to do a thicker border than that. I was told to do a 3 pixels. Better obey instructions. Don't deviate from these instructions in any way or things will go horribly wrong. That's the wrong file. I'm looking for this JS file. So not thin, 3 pixels. Do as you're told. 3px. I don't think it matters what order you put these three things in, solid, grey and 3 pixels. It'll be fine. So save that and reload the document. Reload, that's a slightly thicker border. Okay, that wasn't the only thing we had to do. We had to do these other things as well. Image, let me just show you what can go wrong here. If I put the rule in here, then it applies it, no problem. Reload. If I had put that rule in earlier, so say I put that rule in right here at the top, nothing will happen. That rule won't get applied. I save that, I reload, and there's no border. The reason being, this says all the images that are currently in the document. And at this stage in the processing, there's no images in the document. So if I take that rule and I cut it and I put it down to here, you might think that would work because at this stage here, this is where we created the IMG rule, but we hadn't yet put it in the document. Let's save that and see if it works. Reload. Nope, that didn't work either. It won't apply this function here. It says find all the images that are currently in the document. And at this stage in the processing, that image isn't in the document. Let's take it out, put it where it should be. That's there. And we've got other rules as well. So we'll save that and reload. And let's try the other instructions one by one. I'm going to move these a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we want the image to be 20 pixels wide. Let's take that and put it in here. Okay, save that and reload. Okay, that's made it a little bit smaller. What other rules have I got? Okay, this is saying div text align center. Okay, let's try that one. So I copy that and put it in the document. Div text align center. Okay, save that and have a look. Okay, that didn't work. I must have clicked the wrong button. Reload. No, save and reload. Okay, so what's happened now is that it has centered the word France, but it's centered it according to the width of the whole document. Can you see? If I make this bigger and smaller, can't make it smaller, but I can make it bigger. It's staying in the middle of the page. So it's centered it, it's done what I wanted. Well, hasn't done what I wanted, it's done what I said. Let's keep going, see if anything else crops up. These two here, I'm getting tired of typing. Let's just copy that. This is saying everything in the document should be just massive. Okay, so we want, whoop, deleted too much there. So body, CSS font family is Arial, and the font size is extra large. Save that and reload. Okay, that's France is a bit bigger. Okay, it's not looking quite how I want it, but I've done what I was told. We can move on. Yeah, we could move on. But I want to simplify this line here. This CSS, I'm setting the border equal to that and the width equal to that. So these two lines, these are two separate CSS instructions. Now, we can combine them into a single instruction. What you can do with CSS is, this function CSS, you can give it a pair of values like that. The other thing you can do is say $image CSS, and instead of giving it just two things, you can give it a whole list of things. This is this key value pair structure that we use curly brackets with. So the first one is border, and the value for that is this. And the second thing I want to change is width, and the value I'm using there is 200. So that line should replace these two. Notice that I didn't have to quote the keys and these values, but I did have to quote the value there because it's a string. I didn't have to quote this one because it's a number. So take out those lines and check that I haven't changed anything, haven't broken it, save that. Okay. Right, that completely went wrong. This will be instructive. Let's find out where I went wrong. Actually, I can see it, but let me show you how I find the error. I press F12. So I pressed F12 to bring up the debugger, and the debugger came up miles away. You can't see it, it's not in the window. Here's the debugger. It's over here, and it's just too big. Okay, let me try and dock that. I'm trying to click on this thing, it's not working. There it is, so let me dock it. Okay, so this window is a little bit small, but you can see the debugger, that's the error, and it's saying uncaught syntax error, unexpected token, close bracket on line 7. Let's take a look at line 7. Here's my line numbers down here. It says line 9. So line 7 is 2 up from there. That's here. And there's an unexpected close bracket, and I can see it right away now. There's the unexpected close bracket. Get rid of that. Save that. Reload this. That 1 has gone away. My page is reloading. I'm going to close the debugger. Next time something goes wrong, next time I'm suspicious, I'll bring that up. Maybe I'll just leave the debugger kind of small down there. And I'm looking for a red 1. If I make a mistake here, I've got some kind of syntax error, save that, reload that. You can see that 1 is telling me I've got an error, and I need to look at the console to find out what that error is. Let's get rid of the error again. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there, and in the next video, I'll move on to the next task in tutorial 1.